Hello, this is Marquis Murphy with Teenview magazine. I'm so excited to be here today, and this is Community Legends. Today we are here interviewing a legend, a true legend in Wichita, Mr. Theo Cribs Jr. How you doing today, sir?
Doing fine.
Awesome, awesome. Well, one of the things I think that is so phenomenal about you and your story is that you have been a part of this community for a long time, and you've been a coach, helping to raise and mold young men for more than 50 years.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, I can tell you that.
Absolutely. Well, when we talked initially, you were telling me how you actually got into coaching. Can you share a little bit about that today?
Well, I was actually I was walking from my auntie's house, and I went down 17th Street, and the lady called me in at the Community Action Agency. It was on 17th and Grove, and asked me to coach a team, and I turned her down. I said, no, I'm not interested. So, about a week later, she came out again and said, come in here, Mr. Cribs. And I went in, and she said, well, we have uniforms, and we have bats and balls, and this was baseball, and but we don't have any black men to help out. And she said, I need you to do help. And so I thought about it, and I said, well, she sounds serious, so I just said, well, okay, I'll try, give it a try, and that's how I got started.
Yeah, okay. Good deal. Yes, yes. So now, when you started coaching football, and I know one of the organizations that's pretty much synonymous with you is the Bulldogs, is the Golden Bulldogs.
Right.
Is that correct? Yes, sir. And so how long have you been coaching the Bulldogs?
Oh, since about 82, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've seen people come and go.
That's right.
Good deal. Good. Can you tell me some of your, just so that people who are listening would know, some of the different players that you were able to work with over the years?
Oh, well, football-wise, we had Wembley.
Cameron Wembley, yes.
Yeah, Joe Randall and John Randall and his brother, Larry Jr. We had those, and we had several people that David Bell, Derek Hubbard.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the few people there. And
I went to school with Derek Hubbard.
oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It would take me, I had hundreds.
Right. Over all those years, there's a lot. Yeah, I just wanted a few names that.
J.J. Walker. I hadn't thought about this. That's a few, but everybody for a while there that was, pretty good. I was associating some kind of way,
Right. Good deal. So, and of course, one of the names that's most popular out of the city of Wichita when it comes to football is Barry Sanders, and you had a chance to coach him at least 1 year. Is that right?
Yes, I was with a different organization then. I was with the Wichita Coach then.
Oh, okay.
Organization, which I started in the Greater Wichita Junior Football League in '72.
Another question that I have for you is, what would you say just looking back over the years and knowing what you know now, after all these years of coaching, because you're talking about 50 years is just a phenomenal thing to be able to impact the lives of young men. And I love the fact that when you said there were no black men stepping up to help out, to coach, you've done it. Do you feel like, and this is a side question because there's a lot here, but even with that, do you feel like that's probably why you stayed with the game so long? Because we're lacking the role models necessary to impact the lives of these young people?
Well, the reason I stayed with it so long is I enjoyed it. I enjoyed coaching. I enjoyed teaching. Matter of fact, the Bulldog was started off of a lady's, Ms. Hill, front porch. And, when I had retired from the Colts and some kids came up and I was sitting on the front porch and they came up and said, Mr. Cribs, will you teach us some football because we can't walk all the way up on 25th Street. And when we get to high school, if you teach us something about football and we want to play, we'll know something about it. Would you teach us? And I consider myself a teacher, first of all. So I said, these guys here is off in the projects and stuff, and they're not going to stick. So I said, what I'll do is give them a lot of exercise, and tomorrow they won't show up. So I gave them some hard exercises, and then I didn't show up the next day.
You didn't show up the next day?
Didn't show up. I said, they're not coming back.
Right.
And I'm through with them.
Right.
The next day when I came, they said, where were you yesterday? We had a whole bunch of people wanted to play, and you didn't show up.
Wow.
And I said, my God, what have I got myself into? But you know what? I found out those kids was still very close to me.
Good.
Because I still call them kids. They grown. Right. They getting old now. But they because they came a lot. I mean, those were the type of kids that they would give you 100%. They would give you 100%. And we got started right up there. The street was called Arnold Street. And we started right up by Arnold Street. And after 2 or 3 days, we moved to the old Matheson Junior High, which is Chester R. Lewis Academy now. And we've been there, around there, at the Atwater Center and across the street there at the old Matheson Junior High for, I don't know, since 82, I guess.
Wow, yeah. You still practice over there.
Right.
Yes, sir. Wow. So the Bulldogs are known to be a very powerful team. They're known for their winning, known for their fundamentals. What is your feeling about all of that tradition that the Bulldogs bring?
Well, the Bulldogs as far as I'm concerned, is a special group. We're and all of the rest of the organizations in our neighborhood too is very special too, and we don't fight anybody, and we don't try to talk about anybody. We just try to teach our kids how to play football and how to be good citizens. Now, when you say, do we try to win? Sure. But that's not the main idea. The main idea that we have is to create friendship and create scholarships and create a young man that if he so chooses to play football, he can do it. But football is not a lifetime sport, so you only have one chance around. If you don't like it, well, hey, you'll at least know what football is all about.
Sir, yeah, that's awesome. And you guys have had some, like you said, some phenomenal young men come through there, and a few went on to the pros, and you know, like you said, you mentioned like your Cameron Wembleys, and you know, and I believe Joseph Randall went through the Bulldogs as well. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So some phenomenal players coming through this organization, and I just wanted to say it is such an amazing thing when we talk about leaders and people standing up just to get involved into the lives of the young people, into the community. We do not get to hear of a person who is committed to a community for over 50 years. So I know you don't look at it like it's a big deal, but it is. When I heard that number and I thought about it, and I know the legacy that the Bulldogs have, and all of that comes from your leadership and the thing that you've done, and for 50 years of commitment is amazing. So I want to say thank you for what you've done for this community. When everyone else wants to say that you know, these kids aren't anything or nobody cares about the black community, here you are showing us the way. So thank you so much.
Well, you know, I've always had a saying, you know, and I was born in the South, and for my first 14 years of my life, I lived in a society that was all black. So it's easy for me to be around black people. It's easy for me to teach black people because my first 14 years of life, that's all I knew. So when Miss Luella Love came out with tears in her eyes and threatened me,
right.
I'm glad she did.
Yes.
And I always tried to do something to make her proud of me. Yeah. And I just, you know, I hope that I've helped somebody along the way, because it's been so many came through the Bulldogs, and I mean extremely good football players. And when I first started in baseball, we had one of the first players I had was in baseball was Laverne Smith.
Oh wow!
And just so he didn't play football, but he played baseball for me. And you know, I could name you guys from, you know, a lot of them I'm missing out. I'll just give you a few that I could think of, right? But I left out a whole bunch of guys that was very good.
And I'm sure they would all talk about your impact that you made in their lives, and I do believe that we'll have an opportunity to interview some of those guys as well, and some more people to be able to talk about the legacy that you are leaving here for this community, and it's a huge one. So again, we do really appreciate you. But let me ask you this question, and this is the final question I have for you here. If after everything that you've done, and all the experience and all the people you've encountered knowing the city, what is the one thing, like if you were able to just go back to your younger self and say, this is the information that I would want to tell you, you know, that you could either tell for yourself or you can speak into the lives of the kids, what would it be?
Well, if I had to go back and do it again, I would tell the kids what I've always told them. Don't let nobody tell you that you're nobody. That everybody, I don't care if you can't tie your shoe, you can play the game of football, you can play the game of basketball, you can play the game of baseball, whatever you choose. And you don't have to be good at it. As I can recall, Barry Sanders wasn't that good when he first started off, but look at the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yes. And arguably the best running back to play the game.
You could put him up there with anybody,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
You could put Derek Hubbard up there with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You could put Tyrone, his teammate there, I can't think his last name there, but he went to Northwest. You could put him there with anybody, and he learned from Derek and J.J. Walker how to play football.
Wow.
He just watched him.
Wow.
I'd tell anybody, hey, just because people down you, don't get disappointed. Because you didn't win the game, don't get disappointed. Because if you continue, it'll work out for you.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'll tell everybody. Don't quit.
Don't quit.
I've been here 50 years, and I never quit.
Awesome. Awesome. So not only are you teaching them that, you're leading by the example.
That is correct.
Awesome.
I've been 50 straight years
Yes.
in this athletics for little kids.
Wow. That's
And
amazing.
boys and girls.
Yes.
So, you know, just don't quit.
Yes.
And adults.
Right.
You know, I don't brag or anything, and I tell you another thing, my last thought.
Okay.
I've never been into anything by myself.
Mm.
When I left Alabama, it was the people that was around me that made me.
Okay.
And it wasn't myself. I can't take the credit for none of this.
Right.
You know, it's other people.
Gotcha. So it's about building people and connecting with people. That's where the true wealth is.
Well, my folks taught me never down anybody. And I took that to heart. I've never downed anybody now I was hard on them now, but I've never downed them. You'd be surprised what you can do if somebody just come and tell you, say, hey, you can do it. You'd be surprised.
I totally agree. So there you have it, another community legend with Mr. Theo Cribs Jr. We have so many more people to share. There's so many people that build our communities that do not get the recognition that they deserve. So we will do our best to make sure we connect with those people to bring you the true leaders of our community who are truly building a strong community and giving us a strong nation. We'll see you next time.
Three Fingers Productions. That's all we need.